me howling at the moon.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Park Pros. Today I have a review of one of the best coasters I rode for the first time in 2019. That coaster is Storm Chaser, a Rocky Mountain construction iBox steel coaster at Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville, Kentucky. There's no denying that Storm Chaser is a really fun coaster, but today I want to answer the question, is it underrated when compared to its fellow RMCs? Let's dive right into our review of this airtime machine. But first, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button as we cover all kinds of roller coaster and theme park content here. In 1998, Kentucky Kingdom was in its first operating year as a Six Flags branded park after being purchased by Premier Parks the previous fall. On June 21st of that year, the park opened Twisted Sisters, a pair of CCI dueling wooden coasters. These two coasters, Stella and Lola, were notorious for being rough and having pretty uneventful layouts. After a name change to Twisted Twins in 2002, the coasters closed indefinitely in 2007 due to their lack of popularity. The ride would remain standing but not operating through Six Flags' closing of the park in 2010 and the reopening of the park by Ed Hart in 2014. Finally, in 2015, Kentucky Kingdom announced that they would be transforming the former Twisted Twin structure into Storm Chaser, a $10 million RMC iBox coaster for the 2016 season, which they announced with this incredible No Limits mock-up. Storm Chaser was designed by legendary roller coaster designer Alan Schilke and opened to the public on April 30th, 2016 to rave reviews from coaster enthusiasts. I rode Storm Chaser on my July 2019 trip to Kentucky Kingdom. Here are my complete thoughts on the ride. Let's start by running through the 2,744 feet of Storm Chaser's layout. You pull out of the station, do a U-turn, and then start your descent up the 100-foot lift hill. Once you reach the crest, you do a left-handed turn that starts angling you into the ride's first drop and first inversion, a barrel roll down drop. In the front seat, this inversion provides some great hang time, but if you're in the back seat, you get absolutely sucked down this thing. And you could even say that you experience some airtime while you're hanging upside down. This is an insane element and really starts the ride off with a bang. From there you even out back to straight and head up into the first of the 13 airtime hills. When I rode Storm Chaser back in July, it was towards the end of the operating day and it was still a good 90 degrees out, so this thing was beyond warmed up. I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is one of the most insane ejector moments I've ever experienced. I'm talking El Toro levels of airtime. This moment alone kept me coming back for more rides, as it felt like this airtime hill was trying to throw me to the moon. From there you hit a 140 degree stall, which is less of a stall and more of an inverted outer bank curve that you just fly through. Then it's two back-to-back off-axis airtime hills that give some twisting ejector airtime. From there you do an overbank dive and fly into another more traditional airtime hill, which again provides an insane ejector moment. I'm telling you, this hill and the first one give off some world-class ejector airtime. From there you fly into the ride's second inversion, a 0G roll, which they call a corked roll, which is a really compact and snappy inversion. After that, you hit the infamous trick track double up and then the double down, which is essentially 4 airtime hills in a row. At this point of the ride, the train has lost a lot of its momentum, so they don't provide too crazy of ejector, but it definitely pops you up out of your seat. Finally, you hit a low to the ground helix that takes you into the brake run. From start to finish, the duration of the ride is 1 minute and 40 seconds, but you fly from element to element with such speed that the time from the top of the lift hill to the brake run is only about 50 seconds. In my first trip to Kentucky Kingdom last July, there were hardly any lines all day, so even running one train, I was able to ride Storm Chaser 12 times. In the front row, back row, all over the train. In terms of where to ride this thing, about half the RMCs I've been on I prefer the front row, but Storm Chaser is definitely a back row ride. You get absolutely whipped down that first barrel roll drop and launched over the 13 airtime moments throughout the ride if you're sitting in the back seat. Definitely give the front row a shot, but if you want some amazing ejector, back row is where it's at. Overall, I think Storm Chaser is a great headlining attraction for Kentucky Kingdom. It's great that as a smaller park, they were able to work with RMC to get this ride done, as the cost of these iBox coasters have gone up significantly the past few years due to the high demand for RMC coasters. My visit to Kentucky Kingdom was a midsummer weekend day, and Storm Chaser was a walk-on all day. Where else in the country would you be able to sit down and re-ride an awesome RMC coaster all day? And with Kentucky Kingdom's admission prices being so cheap, Being able to re-ride Storm Chaser over and over is honestly worth the price of admission alone. Let's get to the question at hand here. Is Storm Chaser an underrated RMC? What I based this question off specifically was a ranking video of all RMC coasters the guys over at CoasterNet did in 2018. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. In this video, they gave Storm Chaser the title of the worst RMC, and they aren't the only enthusiasts that I've heard that aren't Storm Chaser fans either, and I can't say I understand why. Storm Chaser has everything us enthusiasts ask for. Insane inversions, great pacing, ejector airtime, and it packs it all into a tight plot of land that Kentucky Kingdom was limited to. Plus, it's got some of the best individual elements of any RMCs I've ever been on. I definitely wouldn't vouch for it as an upper tier RMC, but I think it's solidly in the middle of the pack. Of the RMCs I've been on to date, Storm Chaser is in my top 5, along with Steel Vengeance, Iron Rattler, Wicked Cyclone, and Twisted Colossus. If you get a chance to ride this thing in the hot Kentucky summer sun like I did, you'd understand why I'm so high on it. The ejector that this thing gives off when it's hauling is just unreal, and you just fly through the rest of the glass smooth elements. The one complaint I do have with this ride is that it's pretty short. Of the 21 RMCs currently in operation or construction, Storm Chaser is the 4th shortest in terms of track length. I'm definitely a person that can look past short track length if the layout is great throughout, but unfortunately I'm not going to give Storm Chaser that pass. The last few hundred feet of the ride after the 0G roll for me just doesn't do much at all. The trick track double up and double down feel like they're too small and compact, and they kind of just throw your body around in an uncomfortable way instead of providing any real airtime. Plus, at this point of the ride, you're just kind of crawling into the brake run. I'm a big fan of RMCs, and any coaster for that matter, that has such good pacing that it just flies into the final brake run. So let's get down to rating Storm Chaser on our tier list. This is a tough one for me to definitively place where Storm Chaser belongs on here, because I truly believe that the rides I had on it were some of the best conditions you can experience it in, and that alone makes me want to place it into the elite category. But ultimately, I'm going to place Storm Chaser in the upper part of the great tier. There are truly some elite elements on this coaster, especially the first drop and the first airtime hill. Honestly, for me, those two elements alone pulled this coaster to the brink of the elite tier. But ultimately, I think Storm Chaser's short layout and weaker ending keep it down in the great tier. That's not a knock on this coaster at all. It's a great ride, and I hope you guys can all experience it the way I did when it was just absolutely hauling. Overall, Storm Chaser is a great fit for Kentucky Kingdom, and in my opinion, it makes that park a must-do for coaster fans if you're in the area. That's it for this coaster review. If you've made it this far, please be sure to leave a like on the video and leave a comment down below on what coaster we should review next. Thank you guys for checking out the video, and we'll see you all next time.